guys, my name is Rowlands and I'm a nutritional balancing practitioner, and in this video I'm going to talk about existential crises. So basically an existential crisis is when someone starts kind of thinking about the bigger picture. They're really confused about spirituality, they're confused about the world, they're confused about truth. Are things real? Are we living in some sort of parallel universe? Are we living in a hologram? And all these things start flooding a person's mind, which can make them feel really uncomfortable because it seems as if everyone else around them is not thinking this. And this can be the case. So they start getting panicky, they start wondering what on earth's going off, and this is what's called an existential crisis. So usually what you find with people that are suffering from this crisis is that they tend to be old souls. They tend to be souls that are more open-minded, they tend to be souls that think outside the box, tend to be more alternative, which in many ways is a great help for this day and age if you really want to be happy and healthy in the long run. But what happens is that these old souls are often born into, let's say, regular families, and they grow up in a regular environment and they start doing regular things or what culture expects of them. So they'll get a job, often a boring job that they hate because their soul's often more advanced. They'll be having a poor diet, they'll be getting into poor relationships, and after a while usually these people will start to experiment with certain things, usually drugs, recreational drugs, alcoholism, cigarettes, as an escape really, because when people are under the influence, it could be too much yoga, it could be trying to do too much meditation, for example, when they're feeling a little bit out of sorts. And what happens is they'll read information on the holographic universe, or they'll have like a weird trip where they're really connected to the world, or they'll start seeing entities, and they get what we call this existential crisis of what on earth is going off, what's the truth, where the head feels like it's moving in 10 directions at once. So generally when people are in this position, there's kind of a few things that's causing it. Obviously the first thing that's causing it is you've inhibited the body when your soul is often way more advanced than the people around you. So although culture and your friends and your family are saying this is the way to live, there's something inside of you that's saying something's not right, and this can make you freak out because you're obviously feeling these things, but culture is saying this is that's not the way to think. You should be following this particular route. And then you get like the other side of the coin. So these two things work together. As a result, these people generally in the beginning go down an unhealthy path, and they'll burn themselves out. They'll take recreational drugs, and they'll get things like copper toxicity, heavy metal toxicity, and various other things. Now what's interesting is the metal copper, which is very, very much out of balance with people that are in existential crisis. Copper will tend to rise in the body, and actually it's the body's natural mechanism to help people in existential crisis, believe it or not. Basically what happens, copper is a mineral, it's a more spiritual mineral, so people that are high copper types tend to be more spiritually oriented because copper is able to connect people to higher sources, higher dimensions. People who've got a copper personality, because of them, they're of more of an advanced soul, have very good intuition, can often tune into guides. Sometimes they have clairvoyant abilities. But what happens is when this copper can get too out of balance, usually because these people have burnt themselves out, they're really malnourished, their liver's toxic, the brain will actually use copper to detach a person from reality. So these people actually become detached from reality on purpose by the brain, by the body. And if you think about it, if you're being detached from reality and you're having all these thoughts and intuitions and feelings and trying to learn about the truth, you know, this is going to freak you out even more, and you get even more of an existential crisis. And generally what happens is people's energies will go upwards, they'll, you know, their chi will rise, they'll get stuck in their head, they'll not be connected to earth. You know, often these people tend to get themselves into like a vegan, vegetarian backgrounds, fruitarianism, kundalini experiences, smoothies, which unfortunately make this problem even worse, because these things are very yin. You know, yin and yang is just a way of discussing balance. So people that have existential crisis tend to be really, really yin. You know, high copper is very yin. These people tend to be quite sensitive, which is quite yin. Often in the beginning stages, they're victims, they have a victim mentality, oh, why is this happening to me? Which is also yin. But because of their natural disposition to seek out alternative things, unfortunately they end up doing yin healing modalities, which can make things worse, which pushes their energy even more upwards, which makes them feel even more disconnected from reality. You know, can you imagine how this person's feeling now? One, they've got toxic metals and copper, which is detaching them from reality. None of the friends know none of the friends understand them. The family doesn't understand them. They don't know themselves. Do you know what I mean? Then they're doing yin things, which detaches them from reality even more. So it's literally as if this person's kind of walking around on stilts, just completely spaced out. So there's layers and layers and layers of existential realities, and then all of the information that you read online about various different things, some things true, some things untrue, about how the world really is. I mean, imagine knowing what the truth is, knowing that actually, yeah, we probably do live in a holographic universe. Yes, we probably are guided. Yes, we've probably chosen this life. Yes. You know, human beings have got way more advanced abilities than what people realize. Yes, there are powers that be that don't want us to know the truth, and they want to keep us boxed in and feeling sick and connected to evil. So this is what happened. This is an existential crisis, and the trick and the you know, how do we get out of it? So how do we get out of it? Fixing the problem. Well, the best thing you can possibly do is to start a nutritional balancing program. I'm a nutritional balancing practitioner. I definitely had existential crisis. And basically what the nutritional balancing program does is a few things. The main thing is that we need to get this person more yang. We need to get them grounded to the earth. And there's quite a few ways to do that. There's not many ways to do it, but the nutritional balancing program basically incorporates all the ways to do it. So being more yang means having things like cooked vegetables, some meat in the diet, having downwards moving meditation, doing things like coffee enemas, doing things like sauna therapy that brings a person down to the ground. At the same time, so we're bringing this energy down to the ground, so we're making the person feel more grounded to the earth. It's so important for people that are suffering from existential crisis, is to get them grounded. The second thing we need to do is we need to get all them toxins out of the brain, out of the body, out of the liver, out of the thyroid gland, and we need to balance out copper. Just by removing certain metals, mercury, for example, is going to make you feel really mad. That's going to make your existential crisis 10 times worse. Copper, we've already talked about that. Arsenic's the same. It adds like a dull feeling to it, so it's kind of scary. You know, you got so many other different chemicals, thousands and thousands of chemicals that can all be merging together and making this existential crisis seem even worse. So getting them out of the systems is going to improve things pretty quickly. You know, the toxic metals make someone who's seeking the truth go way out of balance. You know, it just goes way too far. You know, I'm a very spiritually oriented person, and I try to seek the truth. But if I was just seeking the truth and I'm full of toxins and copper's running around, which is making me feel unhinged, and I'm not grounded, my level of thinking, which is fine and normal now, you know, probably not normal to the general population the way that I think, but it's very truthful and normal for people that are more spiritually oriented. But if I had all that added on to me, I would be freaking out, because I would feel like a black sheep. You know, I would feel totally weird and like freaked out by what's going off. Another really important thing is you need to learn about the truth. Now, learning about the truth is difficult because there's so much untruth out there. Now, thank God that what Dr. Wilson's done in the Nutritional Balancing Program and his articles are very, very truthful. I'd also like to think that our YouTube channel has also a lot of truth in it. I've delved around all the issues myself, so I've kind of figured out the truth through trial and error a lot of the time. But Dr. Wilson's website is extremely truthful. The teachings in the Bible are extremely truthful, and they keep you grounded to the earth. This is why it's important not to get too carried away with New Age thinking, because you can go in 10 different directions at once. You look at what's going off now in the political realm, in the social realm. No one knows who they are. No one knows how to, you know, there's people saying that there's no difference between male and female. I mean, if you get to that level where you don't think there's any differences between a male and female, that's massive confusion and untruth, in my opinion. People are pushing away things like Christianity, which is really harmful because it just confuses the person even more. The breakdown of family units, again, really, really harming people because it's creating this weird individualism that's not very healthy whatsoever. So it makes a person feel even more isolated. So learning about the truth is so important. I would actually say anyone that's listening to this or wanting some advice, I do Skype consultations, so I can help you. I could probably help you through this as a process by doing consultations. So if you are interested, then just send me an email, lewis@deephealingspace.com. I can talk about things and help you understand the truth more easily, because it's so important to learn about the truth. You've got to remove cultural ideas. Cultural ideas are like poison half the time. You know, in England, it's culturally the norm to just get drunk every weekend. It's culturally the norm to dress scantily and just show off, you know, these kind of sacred, precious bodies, confusing women. You know, it's promoted to smoke. It's promoted to drink coffee at work. All these things definitely harm you and make existential crisis even worse. You know, so you've got to take a step back from culture. I think people in the UK watch between 15 and 30 hours of TV per week. You know, just garbage, just filling themselves up with garbage 24/7. So you've got to step away from culture and to realise that a lot of the stuff that we get fed these days is absolute nonsense, and it's just going to be making these feelings even worse. Changing friends is going to be important. If you're around toxic friends that are just promoting a really unhealthful way of living, that's going to make things 10 times worse. And once you've found truth, well, like I say, reading Dr. Wilson's articles, listening to YouTube videos like this, generally listening to people that seem more grounded, you know, that are doing yang things, they tend to be the more truthful people. You know, you want to be moving into a position where you're thinking about your chakra systems. Thinking about your chakra systems is a very good way of understanding life and understanding what you need to do in life. So understanding the chakras is really important for you to find your purpose, to find who you are, to ground yourself, to make yourself feel more safe. You know, the energy center number 1, which has our survival mechanism, is our survival root chakra. It's all about survival. It's all about eating the right food, drinking the correct water, being in a good environment, making sure you're out in nature. It's what keeps you on the earth. A lot of people don't even do this, so no wonder they're feeling ungrounded and having crises. The second energy chakra is mainly about sexual relations. Are you having healthy sexual relations with someone? Ideally, you shouldn't be having massive sexual relations with anyone unless you're in a very committed relationship or married. You know, so any kind of loose morals, loose values is gonna mess that chakra up. So that's going to be causing existential crisis. The third energy chakra is all about self-control. It's all about control over the ego, control over the will. Is your life in balance? Are you in control of yourself? Can you say no to things? Are you individualized and you got self-independence and you're powerful? Again, as you can imagine, if this is not right, you're going to be feeling detached from reality. You know, then we move on to the heart chakra, which is mainly about friends and relationships of a non-sexual nature. Are you in wholesome relationships with friends? It's easy to tell a friend from a non-friend because a friend generally has your best interests at heart. They'll stop you from doing anything that's unwholesome. You know, even if they're killing you with kindness, at least they've got your best interests at heart. Anyone that's promoting toxicity, anyone that's not there when you're down, when you're feeling down, or they've not got your back, they're not your true friends. Again, all of these things are going to be making you feel ungrounded. You know, fifth chakra, creative expression. Are you doing something that flows with your own creativity? Are you have you got work that aids your creative expression, whatever it is? It might be music, art, writing, singing, you know, kind of merging your work and your what your service is to the world is so important for the fifth chakra purpose. You know, without any of these, you're going to be feeling ungrounded, whether you have an existential crisis or not. Sixth energy chakra, wisdom, learning. Are you learning about the truth? Learning about being wise? You know, you got to learn all the time, because it's the only way to navigate life these days, because you've got to have your own dictionary, encyclopedia on how to live your life in your head, or you're going to struggle. And then number 7, are you connected to spirit, to God? Is God guiding you? Have you got a good relationship with God? Generally, people who are suffering from existential crises have got their upper chakras quite open. You know, they're quite knowledgeable, even if it might not be the truth. So it's kind of all over. They're quite connected. You know, they're usually artistic, creative people, but their lower energy chakras are very, very much out of balance a lot of the time. So anyway, I hope that helps you out. Again, if you want to, you know, if you need any help and you want to start the nutritional balancing program, that's the best way of overcoming any of these crises, and it's the best way of putting yourself on the long, narrow path of health and healing and development. So if you're interested, just send me an email, lewis@deephealingspace.com, Lewis. Any other questions? If this sort of stuff interests you, please subscribe, and please show it to any of your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.